themselves out. At this point, two of our crew are reaching over the side. They make contact with the boat and their crew, and they're grabbing hold of the first casualty. Notice at the back, we have the backup boat. This is in case we do happen to miss one of the casualties whilst they're in the water. It's going to collect a further 2 casualties. Now both boats will take their casualties and deliver them back to the shore safely to the waiting ambulance, or if not, first aid trained fire crews who will administer first aid as required, get them nice and warm, and hopefully live happily ever after. Okay, that was quite an advanced rescue. If we can get away with it, we will just do some throw bagging from the side and try and ask our casualty to swim in. But before we start talking about that, I'd just like to ask the crowd, especially the children, what types of difficulty, or how can they get into difficulty in the water? What activities are you going to do on your summer holidays this year that are involving water? Don't all shout out at once. Canoeing, yeah, okay, canoeing. You've just seen a great demo from the canoe club there, and if you are a canoeist, you are around people who know what to do in the event of an emergency. You might be going for a walk down the side of the river this summer. We have had some good weather. Don't be tempted to jump into the water because it looks nice and cool and you're hot. As Matt explained, you do lose your heat 25 times faster in the water than when you do sit out on the bank. And if you go in, there's always a temptation for your parents or guardians to go running in after you, and the fire and rescue service will have a big rescue on their hands. Jumping off the bridge can seem sometimes quite appealing, but it is something that we do not recommend that you do. It can be dangerous. As you can see today, it's a nice, reasonably clear day, but you still can't see what's in the water. You can't see the depth of the river, and you can't see any debris beneath the water. So jumping off a bridge is a very big risk to take, and one we would ask that you don't do. All our fire and rescue service personnel who operate on boats are trained as swift water rescue technicians. This involves a 4-day intensive course down at Severn in Ross-on-Wye. Now this helps us to stay buoyant in the water, stops us from sinking. On that personal flotation device there is a whistle, and we can make our colleagues aware of any dangers with certain blasts. There's also a knife in case we get into difficulty. With lines and with tethers, we can get caught up at times, and we are able to cut these lines free. We also notice the casualty in the water. We've made contact, and we've thrown them the line. We work on an idea of talk, reach, throw, row and go. We'll talk to our casualty and ask them to swim to us. If we can't, then we'll reach them, which is with a throw line, with a grappling hook. We'll then throw them a line, pull them in. If we can't, then we'll have to go or row, which means getting the boat out, putting it on the river, and in the last and worst case scenario, we will get in the water and swim after them. This piece of equipment here is an inflatable hose. It's the same hose we use to put out fires, except we fill it full of air. This helps us to reach our casualty whilst maintaining our safety as the fire service personnel. As you can see, a very good rescue was executed there. After we have the talk, reach, throw, row and go being the final way to put the boat on the water, we have in the past used helicopters from search and rescue, police air ambulance, and those sorts of agencies, because at times there are things that we just can't do, and those are always there for us. As you can see, two of our swift water rescue technicians are on a paddleboard. It's inflatable, they have 2 paddles, and all the time they are tethered to somebody else on the bank. So if those guys get into difficulty, they can be pulled in. We always have a system of backup. They're going to make contact with their casualties. Notice they're going downstream of them so that the casualty will float naturally towards the back of the board, and they won't have to chase them down the river. When we do our swiftwater rescue training, we're trained to use the 15 absolutes. Now this helps us have a safe working environment. Talk, reach, throw, row and go is one of them. We also use the saying, clean line every time. This means we don't have any knots in the line. All the lines feed out with the bag at the end, so we can't get caught up and taken under the water. We also, if you look to your right and left, have upstream and downstream safety. This means we can watch for any debris coming down the river, and the downstream safety will be trained to the same people executing the rescue. This means if we get into trouble, we can be rescued. We're not immortal. Even in all that kit, it is really hard work, and also our casualty is floating with the current, so Jim has got to make extra room on our casualty. Notice he is attached by that cow's tail. If he gets into difficulty, if you look to the left-hand side, there is a boat there to rescue them. That is our downstream safety. Thankfully, Jim has made contact with his casualty. His arm has gone up in the air, and now the people on the side are going to pull him in nice and safely. If this casualty were to have a suspected neck injury, Jim could use the casualty's arms and bring them up round his head and create a buffer either side of the neck to keep it nice and stable. This way, as we're executing the rescue, we're not going to be causing any further damage to our casualty. And at any time during this rescue, if Jim feels that things aren't going quite right or there's something going wrong, he can pull a button on the front of his PFD and that line will come detached. He can float down to the boat and the boat will rescue him safely. We always have something else to protect us. All of these new techniques have come in since 2007. Fire and rescue services aren't actually obliged to attend water incidents, but we feel as we have a lot of water surrounding us with two big rivers, the Severn and the Wye, and lots of inland lakes and streams and brooks, that it